Scratch. I'm Daryl Schmidt, Public Foot from Southern Power District, Safety Director for Southern Power. We've got Jeff down there at this end, got Luke up here that came from our Juniata office to help us do a show today. Question for the kid in the front right here, and one sitting in the middle right next to mom. I got a garden hose. I pull it out away from the house. I turn the faucet on, and the water comes out of the garden hose. And it goes down to the, where's the water go after it comes out of the hose? To the ground. You get 100% on your test. Way to go. We're going to start some of this stuff the same. Now, water goes to the ground, makes the trees, makes the grass grow. Electricity works the same way. 7,200 volts on the top phase. Bottom wire is neutral or ground. If you go into Grand Island in here, top wire is a neutral or ground. The bottom wires are 12,400 volts. How do you make it work? We don't know the difference unless you've been told what is out there, or if we're trained in a field like we are. If our guys went to some other district, they would ask what they do, what the voltage they have, how they want it built, and we'd build it accordingly. Like I said, we're starting from scratch. Who turned on a light this morning? I got up too early. But anyway, you turn on a light switch, you have power, you use it. Use it every day. You don't even know it. You have your lights, your toasters, furnaces, air conditioners.
With regard to the young confessing female that is at the nurse's lounge, Bridget Walk Center, next to Kinstone, it appears that we're actually looking for mom, who would like to be on the midway, and her name is Maria. Your daughter is located at the next to Kinstone in the Walk Center, Nursing Center, First Aid area.
Okay. We've got power lines going down the road. We come from a generation station. Nebraska Lake Power furnishes the power from Sutherland. 345,000 volts. Comes another substation, drops down to 115,000 volts. From 115,000 volts, it drops down to 69,000 volts or 34,500 volts. And that's the voltage that we get at our substations. We drop it down to distribution voltage of 7,200. Then we drop it down to 110, 240 to get in your house. Everybody looks at our trailer back here, and we have 7,200 volts on this trailer. Everybody says, how can you get 7,200 volts on a trailer back here? We carried in a lot of rubber buckets worth of electricity this morning. You don't believe me either, do you? Okay. Transformers are stupid. Our linemen are very smart. They know how to make the transformers work. If we put 7,200 volts in the top, the high side, we bring out 122 40 volts on the bottom. If we put 240 volts in the lower sides bushings, we get 7,200 volts on top. How many people have a generator or would wanted a generator in the 07 ice storm? You did, and you wish you had one? Okay. One thing about a generator, if you do not have a disconnect or a double throw below that meter, and you hook up a generator to the power line in your house, it goes back through your service, back through the meter, up to the transformer, out the top, 7,200 volts. You've just put my lineman in harm's way by turning on electrical current through your meter all the way back. If you're thinking about getting a generator, buy the double throw or disconnect first, then buy your generator. Do it in the right order. Start with the disconnect and then get the generator. Please, to make the job safe for our guys out there and for you. Okay. On the center pole, we got a disconnect and an OCR in the middle there. That's a disconnect device, two different types. We got an orange jumper on the middle, two wires over here. That's our proof that the line is off and grounded. We can see a visual open here. We know it's off and it's grounded now. We can work down here. Now, when he closes his gates in, he's closing in 7,200 volts to the ground because that's what the bottom wire is. Watch this arc in the middle of the cutout at the top of the center pole. Ooh, he almost had one long enough he wasn't going to get it out. That's 7,200 volts. That's 7,200 volts. It turns sand into glass at 1,800 degrees. That can in the center pole there, it's called an OCR, oil circuit reclosure. If a squirrel would have climbed up on this pole down here at this end, and it went and touched the wire, your lights would have blinked once and the power would have came back on. That's what that OCR operates like. Now if a tree would have fell through the line and knocked it down to the ground, the OCR would have went blink, 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 off. And that's the OCR. That's what you see if you have an outage, if you're on an OCR. That cutout in the center though, let's go three-phase line goes down the road like this. But there's a tap goes into house service here. But they're tree huggers. Oh, I mean tree lovers. They like the trees, they don't want to cut them down. We put a cutout on the road out here by the three-phase line. Tree falls down, takes the fuse out on the road. That customer is off. Everybody else stays on. That's how we isolate and protect the customer out there. We can find the outages faster and quicker this way. When he closes the center cutout in, you get home through the light switch. We use an 8-foot stick. We turn the light on at the end. If we're out on trouble call in the middle of the night, we close in a cutout like that. We go, yep, Brown's lights came on. We can go home. If you see Brown's lights come on, but you're Jones down a mile to the south, call in and say the power didn't come on at your house yet. You may have a fuse out on top of your transformer that we don't know about. But Brown's the only one that called in. So we think we're done for the night. I'd rather be called on the way home than I would after I got home and got in bed and say, I got to go back out. Don't be a pest, but call in if your power is out to your public provider. How many people have farm background, haul machinery or anything else around here? Anybody? Oh, a few hands go up. You have irrigation pipe. My dad, when I was growing up in the 60s, we picked up that last piece of pipe at the end of the season. He said that last piece you had to shake the dirt and the sand out of the last piece, put it away for storage. Well, if I would have stood it up the power line, this is what could have happened. Aluminum ladders, TV antennas, augers that you forget to crank down, you pull it into the wires. Watch the top wire, look at the ground dirt box, watch the light at the end. All three spots, you'll do it several times. Okay, we've got a spark at the top, we've got a spark at the bottom. Electricity's going through that pipe down to the ground. That light's going off. What would happen to me if I was hanging onto that pipe? Electrocute me and have a shock, and the electrical current's going to go through my body because I'm hanging on the pipe, through my body, down through my feet to the ground. Electricity wants to take a path to ground. Why did that light go off? He opened the circuit. He didn't really open it. What he did is start using the electricity right in the middle. All the electricity. That transformer that at the substation says, man, somebody just turned on a big motor and I want to have more electricity for that motor, so it starts cranking out more power, and it's going to that irrigation pipe or that auger you got in the line, and it takes it all away from the customers down at this end, so their lights are blinking when that goes into it. Okay. Henry Dorley Zoo, is that the right zoo you're at? Okay, that round thing on the trailer, what'd they just put on there? What's that called? The tire? You got 100% on your test. Okay. What do we go here? Guy in the gray. What's the tire made out of? Rubber. He gets 100% on his test. That's the two items. The tire is on a trailer. We got it made of rubber. Our linemen use rubber gloves to protect them. They're tested 20,000 volts. They use a stick tested at 100,000 volts. And they got bucket trucks that are tested with fiberglass, two different sections. Watch what happens to this tire when you put it in 7,200 volts. Okay. We just said the rubber protects our linemen when we get them tested 20,000 volts. Why is that rubber tire burning then? If I'm telling you that's what they use to protect themselves. What's in a tire? Yeah, what's in it? Steel belts is in the tire. They're together like this here. They're overlapping. They use dirty rubber. They use wire, Kelvar. All those items are in that tire to get you 50,000 miles. Holds the sidewalls up. That metal in there is having a short to ground. Now, if you ran your car or your equipment into the power lines, what should you do? Get out. You just lost me. You didn't get that right. What we need to do is imagine a bullseye. Circle in the middle. The wire just fell on your car. The next circle out is 8,000 volts. The next one's 6. Next one's 4. I step out of the car from 10,000 volts to use easy math. I step out and go like this and I touch the ground. I got 10,000 volts in this leg, I got 8,000 volts in this leg. That's not doing me any good. So I think I'll take a bigger step next time. I take another step. I've got 6,000 volts here and I got 10,000 volts here. That means 4,000 volts is going through my body. Let's go a little bit farther. 4,000 volts over here, 10 here, that means 6 through my body. None of them are doing me any good, and I won't go any lower. Stay in the car. Do not get out. Call for help. Wait till we tell you it's off or grounded. If you have to get out of the car, there's only one way to get out. That is to open the door. Put your hands together. Jump out of the car with your feet together. Continue to jump 10, 20, 30, 40 feet away from that car. The step potential can be any voltages all the way out to 30 to 40 feet away. Wet conditions, that means that voltage is going through the ground farther than it ever did before because it's wet. If it's dry, it only goes 10. Don't take a chance. If anybody is a paramedic or first aid responder here, if there's a wire on a car, do not approach that car until we get there and tell you it's off and grounded. If you're going to go in and try to get close enough where you can hear because you're deaf like I am, jump closer. And that's all the closer as soon as you can hear them. Then you just say, just stay in the car, wait till we get there and say it's off and grounded. We don't need to get any more people in harm's way. That's step potential. It's just as dangerous as grabbing a wire like this and hanging on to it. Okay. One in the stripes back here. What's that thing he's got on the end of the stick right there? A branch, and where's the branch come off of? A tree. Where does the tree grow out of? The ground? Okay. 3-part question. You got all of them right. I'll give you 100%. All right. That bottom wire is a neutral or ground. Top wire 7,200 volts. He holds that up there long enough. This is what happens to the tree branch right here. It burns all the way straight through it. All the way down to the next branch. All the way straight through it. It'll make it go down all the way to the ground. This had a stump on it. It burns all the way to the ground through that tree. If you see it sparking and starting to burn up there on the bottom wire, the neutral, and the phase, it's smoking and burning, sparking. In Missouri, if you go down there, you see the wires blowing back and forth across the trees. That's their tree trimming program. Okay, with us, kids, never climb a tree underneath the power lines because you can reach up there and push a tree limb into the phase. That means that electric current's going to come back down through that tree branch to your body. Adults, if you're going to trim a tree away from the power line, let us do it. Trim it clear, and you guys can clean up the mess. We're going to have you, sir. Come and touch that piece of metal for me. You got to do it really quick, though. Then do what? Ma'am, would you like to do it? I think you're good enough. Come and touch it. Yes. Really quick. Now just hang on to it like this. Gotcha. Now touch the wood back here. Touch this. Touch this right in here. Pretty hot, isn't it? Compared to the metal. Metal's cold. Metal is cold, the wood is hot. We had electric current go through that tree limb back here, to the neutral, to the phase. Anybody see a bird land on the wire before? That piece of metal is just like the bird on the wire. It's no harm's way. It's the same potential as that wire. Now, that lightning arrestor, I was talking to it about this other side up here. On this end used to be a ground. This is the phase, 7,200 volts, 9 inches apart. The bird sits on this side on the grounded wire. He's just fine. If he sits on this phase over here, he's just fine. Let's say he's sitting over here on the ground though. He sees a juicy grasshopper on the phase wire. He says, lunch is served. It's his last supper. Boom. He's gone. Puff of feathers, he's gone. Your lights have just blinked one time. That OCR operates. It sees that flash and it'll operate probably. Remember, we'd had everybody say he turned on a light this morning. We use an 8-foot stick to do it.